last week it didn't record the screen, so it was weird. So now I got it on, so hopefully it works this time. I mean, it's not that big a deal. The screen is really just meant to create a video so that I can upload it to YouTube. Well, let's get started, right? So first, let's talk about some wins. Who's got some wins? Anybody? Hello? Did we disconnect? Well, Renee was talking about she picked up a lead while we were before people got on. She had picked up a buyer lead. They may be a little ways out, but it's still a buyer lead nonetheless. So somebody's getting ready to speak. Please identify yourself first.
I'll go with a win. This is Charles. I got a new buyer client out looking at houses that had been avoiding me for probably 3 months.
Right.
So, but now she's my buyer client and is telling all other agents not to work with or that not to call her anymore. So it's awesome.
Right. So let me ask you this. So what would be the lesson you would take from she avoided you for 3 months?
Oh, consistent follow-up, consistent contact.
Right. Well, that's how you got, yeah. But her not replying back, why do you think that is?
She wasn't ready.
Period. Right? It's just that just because someone raises their hand today, but if they're a year out, that doesn't mean they're jump in a car and start looking at them right offers today. It's just that simple.
Yep.
So, you know, you got to remember, especially, I mean, leads can be anywhere from 2 days to 2 years. So the key is to get in there and try to identify as quickly as possible so that you know how to follow up on them.
Exactly.
Right?
That was with no response. I was just kind of following her lead from the tracking that I got on the website and everything else.
Right.
Only reaching out when she was showing activity, interest, and you know, just saying, "Hey, look, you know, I'm here for you if you're ready." And it was Christmas time. She said she was going to look in the spring, and sure enough, here comes spring.
Oh,
you know,
there's the spring,
and here she is. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's where your websites, you know, for those of you that have IDX sites, if you connect these people to the IDX site where they can go and look at homes, Pro Agent, I'm sure most of them have this feature, but the Pro Agent has a feature that you can turn on that when they log in, you'll get an alert. So how cool is that, right? So you'll know, so you get an email. So the cool part is, and then if you filter emails to that person, you know, from Pro Agent that person, you know, logged in, then you'll be able to tell if there's a pattern that they log in at a certain time of day every day. So then, you know, what does that tell you? That tells you when to follow up with them. So if you could see that they log in every night at 7-ish, you know, sometimes a little before, sometimes a little after, but you could tell that it's around 7-ish, and then alert that then you want to be on the keep an eye out on them so they log in, and you want to call them or, you know, send them an email or a text message. Hey, you know, just as Charles, I wanted to follow up with you, blah, 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 whatever. So use your tools that you have. You have some of the most amazing tools out there if you use them. Right? How about somebody else? Anybody else have any wins? Hey, Renee, would you share with us where you found the buyer lead you were talking to? You got to unmute yourself.
Yes. Well, what I did was I don't know if I should have done this or not, but I was just out shopping and I went to Pay Jewelers, and I had kept my I wanted to buy like this 1.5 carat diamond ring for like years and years and years and years and years. So the guy that actually sold it to me, he's the one that he goes, "You're in real estate?" And I go, "I am in real estate." And he goes, "Well, I'm new to Utah. I just moved from Las Vegas." So we have that in common because I've got family out in Las Vegas. And we just started talking, and he says, yeah, him and his wife want to buy, but they're about a year out, so
Right.
9 months. So I
So
was just out shopping. So I do that if I'm out shopping. I normally don't buy stuff for myself, but wanted something to hand down to my granddaughter. So I felt that it was pretty productive.
good.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. As long as you're out there talking to people and things like that. So what if you had a name badge on? He would have knew right away, right?
I know, and I was thinking about that on the way when I left Kate Jewelers. I'm like, I need to go get a name badge because I usually wear that, if I'm in a grocery store.
Right.
If I get a lot, I used to get a lot of business out of the parking lot. So wherever I go, I'm always wearing that name badge. So
Right.
I have to order that this week for sure and get one set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, work with Amy. Amy, she's not on the call, so I don't know if she's. I know she's supposed to be back in the office today, so I don't know if she got in real late last night or whatever. So,
Okay.
but Amy has we have a place. So there's two places. There's one that's on State Street. It's called McNeese or something like that. It's a real Irish name. So anyway, well, that's awesome. McGee's, yeah, there you go, McGee's.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
where we buy our awards from. So Amy was getting badges from somewhere else, but I think McGee's is a little easier to access. It's right there off of 4 Union State, so which kind of makes the freeway and that kind of stuff a little easier to get to. So they're right around the corner from Sandberg Signs. Well, that's awesome. That's great. So, and it's just a key. So, especially when you got a name badge on, why not ask everybody, hey, do you own a home? Great. When do you plan on moving? If they say no, then you say, well, when do you plan to own your own home? Well, then they give you some lame duck excuse. Well, I don't have perfect credit. Well, who told you needed perfect credit? Well, I don't have a large down payment. Who told you needed a large down payment? Right? I mean, so let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to buy a home now, would you be interested? They go, yeah, great. Give me your name and number. Let's set up a time. I'll call you. When's a good time to call you, and we'll schedule an appointment. Talk to everybody. Right? If you're a secret agent, that's not going to work. You got to be a popular public agent, a real estate agent, not a secret agent. Right? So great job, Renee and Charles. Anybody else have any wins they'd like to share?
Well, this is Barbara. I did something totally character last week.
Okay.
I was driving by a for sale by owner in my farm, and there have been 6 transactions in the last 6 months, and I've only been part of one of those. So I'm a little on edge with this for sale by owner in the neighborhood. And it took me 2 days to get up the courage to go and get all of the information and be prepared and to make contact. It just so happened that he was in the front yard. So I pulled in the driveway, and Rob and I had gone through some coaching some issues with for sale by owners because I haven't done one for years. And I implemented some of that. I got a tour. I got a relationship. I asked him how I could help him, and turned out I took a sign post up to him, and he was just shocked at my, I think, comfort with him and being able to approach him. And he's got a history in real estate. He's with a big condo company in Park City, and now he's moving to Orlando. So I don't know if I'll get the listing, but the confidence that it gave me walking away from there was so worth the effort and energy that I put into just making that contact.
That's great. So if he's moving to Orlando, so I would go visit him again, and then share with him. So I heard this story over the weekend. I was talking to a broker friend of mine, And she was telling me that, and she got the story secondhand, so I don't know all the details, but there's a predator going around and preying on for sale by owners. What he does is he looks up to see if they got equity, and then once he finds out they have enough equity, he goes ahead. Now he has cash. He's done it enough times to where he's accumulated cash. So what will happen is, if they do not provide him with seller disclosures, so not a violation of law if it's no seller disclosures presented. The buyer has the right to cancel the contract. However, so what he does is after closing, is he sues them, and his lawsuit amount always magically happens to be their equity amount. And then what happens is he sues them for not disclosing, not that they didn't provide him with seller disclosure, for things that were wrong that they knew about it. So, in other words, if you don't disclose what you knew, then you're in violation of the law. If you don't provide seller disclosures, you're just violation of contract. So he's suing them, and so the last one they had like $83,000 in equity. He wound up with $43,000 of it, and so so he files the lawsuit immediately. So the seller's proceeds remain at the title company, and so they have to move out, and they have no money, and he's going after their equity. So I wouldn't share with him that it was the seller disclosures, but I would share with him that there's something. He figures out a way to sue them after closing, that if they would have had an agent, it would never happen.
Right.
So I have an idea for a screenplay in my head called Isbo, right, where there's a serial killer running around killing for sale by owners, and I'd love to have that movie out there and the crap out of all of them. So anyway, but so what But let me finish up the one last thought on that, Barbara. I would approach him with something to go give him, right? And then I would also say, hey, so what part of Orlando are you moving to? I can find you an agent there. And then see if you can get a referral from an agent in Orlando. Why not? A couple phone calls, boom, bada boom, bada bing. Next thing you know, a check comes in the mail.
You got it.
So, anyway, anybody else have any wins? Going once, going twice on the wins. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. Struggles. What are you struggling with right now? Anybody struggling with anything? So, unless you have too many leads, too many listings, too many buyers, and too much money, then you're on the list that has struggles. So, who wants to go first?
I don't like talking about my struggles, Rob, but I'll throw out.
Well, I'm talking about real estate struggles. I mean, I don't want to get deep down in personal. We don't need to hear about relatives with sick, twisted ideas,
No. How about, for me right now, I'm struggling on staying consistent with lead-generating sellers.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I know that 99.9% of you on the call has the struggle that Charles has. He has struggle staying consistent on lead generation for sellers, right? It's easy to lead generate buyers, right? Buy home, blah, blah, blah. So sellers are a different animal, but the sellers are the holy grail of real estate, right? It's been said that until we figure out how to market buyers so that sellers call us, right? Because that's not going to happen. So if you have a list of buyers and around that, I got a list of buyers. Are sellers going to call you? No. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. But if you advertised homes for sale, will buyers call you? Absolutely. So you get it. So when you have sellers, buyers call you. So if you focus on sellers, buyers are a natural byproduct of sellers, right? So you got to get real consistent on your marketing. We always, and then most of the marketing gurus out there always think about selling houses rather than looking for sellers. So they're always gearing everything towards sellers. Now, seller leads are a little hard to get they don't come in as many where, where if you ran a good buyer ad, you may maybe say pick up, 20 clicks on your website or whatever, where if you ran a good seller ad, you might get 3. So what that means, you got to do more of it. Seller leads are worth more money. So you pick up listings, because if you have a seller, you get 2 deals. If you market it right, you could potentially get 3 deals. You could sell the house, maybe they buy another one, maybe you pick up a deal off of the sign or your marketing, you get to market that listing to try and pick up another transaction. If you market to the neighbors right, you could potentially pick up another listing. So you can do all that with a seller, but you cannot do all that with a buyer. So the opportunities are a lot greater when you have sellers. So so you got to focus on that. So what do you think a good solution is, Charles?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
Yep.
I guess the best thing, I got to get over my call reluctance on expireds maybe, and much more on the for sale by owners.
Right.
I prefer to talk to a for sale by owner versus the expired still. So,
well, go knock on their door. If you knock on their door, they're a whole lot less intimidating.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Charles. I'm a real estate agent. Because if you go Aubrey and Associates, they'll be like, who? And they'll think it's a law firm. And then if you say Aubrey and Associates Realty, that gets a little long. So you just say, hey, my name's Charles, and you want to be casual. I mean, the law says you must disclose that your brokerage, but we're there to just say, hey, look, I'm a real estate agent, and I was wondering, how can I help you? See, if you come from service, it kind of lowers their defense. So a lot of agents, the problem is a lot of agents call them up and make them wrong for trying to sell their house for sale by owner, especially if it's on a phone call, right? So think about it. People don't like telemarketers. So if you call them up and then for sale by owners view a real estate agent as a threat to their equity. So here you are, you're calling on the phone. So you're a telemarketer and you're a real estate and you're a threat to equity. You got 2 strikes as soon as you introduced yourself. So on our website, under audios and books, and that's that link there, there's some for sale by owner training. Or if you just go to the FSBO Expire page, you'll see a link that says for sale by owner training. So he goes through that. God, his name's slipping me right now. But anyway, he talks about that, where the first objective is to get them to say yes. So if you're on the phone, you just say, hey, I was calling about the property that's for sale. Are you the owner? And if they say yes, boom, you got the first yes out of them. The second question is, it says here you're selling a home for sale by owner. Is that correct? And they go, yes. Boom, you just got 2 yeses out of them. Okay? So you get 2 yeses out of somebody, you're in the right direction. If you go in and do that whole script where, where you're making them wrong and your demeanor and your attitude makes them wrong for selling it themselves, well, that's strike 3. You're out. You got to get in the door. You got to get in their mental door, and it's a lot easier to do it if you do it in person. But the phone's more efficient for qualifying people. Because remember, your first go around when you're talking to people is qualifying them for what? To see how motivated they are. Because you don't want to follow up. I mean, there's perennials. There's guys that are for sale by owner every year. So like they were for sale by owner last year for $400, it didn't sell. So this year they're $450. It's like, and just every year they put it up for sale, thinking some Yahoo's going to pay more than it's worth. So anyway, so that and they exist. Unclear they exist. But if you want to qualify them, you have to assume they're motivated until they tell you they're not. So, like Barbara talked to a guy, he's moving to Orlando. I mean, that's pretty, if his motivation to get there is high, then he's a deal. He's a deal waiting to happen. In the old days, we used to play the role where, can I show it to a buyer? And they say, yeah. And then, 2 agents would work with each other, and one agent would be the buyer. And, so if Charles had a lead, I'd go as buyer, and I had a lead, he was my buyer. You just can't wear a shirt that says you got, your name tag and that kind of stuff on it. So, but anyway, so don't be afraid to get creative and do stuff.
So can I just add something to that as well, Charles?
Yeah.
So this example for me has been like a huge learning of the power of just, I don't know who was talking earlier, but just talking about the power of just talking to people in the parking lot, in the grocery store, the baseball field, whatever. Just literally opening your mouth and just being friendly, combined with like maybe a little bit of calculated effort. So I sold a house last year up in Harvard Yale in April, met some people at the open house. I've been kind of following up with those people. I ended up helping somebody finish out their basement, and they are now moving to Texas. I think I've told you guys this, but anyway, they close on Tuesday, their house here. And then I've got the other house at the other end of the block that's going to go active at the end of this week. And then there's another person in the middle of the block that I know is never going to sell. He inherited the house from his grandmother, and they did like this massive, amazing remodel. But he and I have had a lot of back and forth. He's the one who referred me to the guy at the end of the street because he watched me sell last April. But the interesting thing is, like, I've kind of kept up with them very casually. Like, I'll send him a note, like when he first gave me the referral, I sent him like a little gift card just saying, thanks so much. I had to talk to Si. I don't know if we're going to end up selling it, but let me know. And then when we did get a contract, so I was up there this weekend, and so I stopped by and brought him a gift card too to say thank you so much for the referral. Like, I'm listing Si's house at the end of the week. And then as we're sitting there talking, he was telling me, I just referred you to a friend of mine that lives in Bountiful that wants to move down here. The same day, my seller that's closing on Tuesday sent me a note saying, oh my gosh, I was just at the nail salon and heard somebody talking about needing to, putting their house up for sale. And I chimed in and just said, you got to use this agent, blah, blah, blah. But my point is, like, that is so many little pieces that came out of one open house and just opening my mouth and like follow up, and very casually, like the guy who gave me the lead in Bountiful that I know he's never going to sell. What I do know about him is he's an influencer, which is why I've continued to kind of very casually keep in contact, because that was my hope that, he actually has a dad who's going to end up selling a house that I would love to sell because his dad happens to be my favorite college professor. So we have kind of this common link, and that to me would just be so fun. So that's part of why I've kept up with him, because I really, really want to be able to do that eventually someday. But so many leads came out of literally that one open house. I mean, I've got 2 houses now for sale. I've got 2 more referrals. And then I'm going to do an open house this weekend, and who knows how much more that can lead to. And there's still a few other people that I'm following up with, and I've given them contractors. The guy that has the remodeled house that is never going to move, like, he's asking me for contractors, and I've given him contractors' names. So it's kind of amazing to me that you can get that much just by, 2 things, being helpful and opening your mouth. And I guess 3, following up all the time. I don't know, that's a huge learning for me, which is why I've kicked myself on other open houses where I haven't gotten people's names and numbers, because I realize now how much can come out of one open house and just having those people's names.
Right. Great. Well, that's a great story. It's a good reminder for me too, because you don't know what's going on out there. People are talking about you one way or another, so you always want to make sure you just do the most amazing job, because look at what's going on out there. She's created raving fans, and so Robin picked up on this one woman as an influencer, right? When you find an influencer, that's why, like me, like, I'm an influencer, right? I mean, the good for what it's worth, and and it's also a curse in some aspect, because I have every mortgage company, every title company, every warranty, every inspection company in the world chasing me down on a daily basis. I mean, it's to the point of nausea. So, that's the bad side of it, but the good news is I can post something and influence people. So, that's just the way it is. But influencers are important, because if somebody asks me, who's a good roofer, and I say, here it is, boom, that roofer's got business. So you want to find the influencers, and if you find an influencer, it doesn't matter whether they're moving, right? I always say it's not about people moving, it's about who they know. Everybody knows 6 here. It's not, they teach at an MLM. It's not who you know, It's not who they are, it's who they may know. I mean, if they're good and they do business, well, great. But also, they may know people.
Yeah.
So I think
story.
it's hugely important. I mean, like on my kind of on my quarterly gift list, my client and high referral, like there's actually a couple of people on that list that have never used me as an agent and have never actually referred me. But I've put them on this list because I recognize that they're influencers. And so, like, I know eventually it will pay out. And literally, they've never used me and they've never even referred me. But I'm like, no, they're going to get my quarterly gifts because they will pay in spades. The influencers are huge.
Right. Absolutely. So here is the thing. I posted this on our Facebook group, and Robin made sure to say, don't give me credit. She didn't do it. So this is a card that goes out, right? But they're going to get this condiment pack from Costco that usually includes like a mustard, a ketchup, and a relish bottle, right? But then they get this card. It's, I just wanted to catch up and let you know that I relish a referral. My clients are the best and always cut the mustard. I mean, as corny as it is, people dig this stuff. Now, for me, I have a hard time doing that. I could get myself to do that because it's kind of corny, and that's not who I am. You know, we're always trying to be cool, but I'm here to tell you, corny's the new cool. So what a great little inexpensive gift to go out and just go buy a dozen or so of these condiments, or and just go around and create a corny card and give them to past clients. I mean, it will get you referrals. I read one great one where if you're selling or if the buyer, right? So if you're the buyer's agent and you can get a good picture, if not, hire a photographer, run over there, take a real high-res picture. Because what they were saying is get a picture of the house into a drawing or a painting or something like that. But I'm here to tell you, Photoshop has software where if you take a good high-res image, convert it to a pencil drawing, and you can make it look like a mosaic. You can make it look like stained glass. You can make it look like, a painting if you want, just from the image, right? So you can do this with software, run down Office Max and get it printed, get a good size printing of it, and then have it framed and give it to them. They'll hang it up in their house and think of you for the rest of every day they live there. If you make it quality enough, they'll actually hang it up. So I thought that was a great closing gift idea. So anyway, I still got my Facebook open. That needs to go down. So back to the stroke. So I hope that helps everybody, because I know that Charles is not the only one with that struggle. So anyway, so any other thoughts, questions? With the next topic is questions. Struggles and questions kind of go hand in hand. Anybody else have any questions? If not, or comments, anybody would like to make a comment? So if not, going once, going twice, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, and then we're going to go ahead and end the call.